Students, let's start with the first point, work. You can see some pictures on the screen from textbook page number 76. A girl is lifting up her bag. A boy is playing with the tire and a stick. A person is trying to hammer a nail. A girl is pulling a box with the help of the rope, and which box is already filled with some books. A person is lifting up a wooden block. You can also see that a boy is playing with a bow and arrow. And lastly, there is one boy who is pressing a sponge. For completion of all these processes, they require force. As we know that force is required for a person to make the object move from one place to another. So all these pictures explain you that force is needed for the object to move from one place to another. So that means we come to know that here force is also needed. But when an object is displaced, by applying a force on it, work is said to be done. So we came to know that now work and force both are depending on each other. Once the force is applied on an object, it displaces from one place to another place. And once the object is displaced from one place to another place, that time we say that work is done. In all these processes, work is done. Now how to come to know whether the work is done or not done? When you sit on a particular place on a chair, you cannot say that the work is done. Since we don't get tired, we are not applying any force, or we are not standing, we are not working. That means we are not changing our place from one place to another. So in that case, force is not applied. If the force is applied, that time the position of the object will change from one point to the other point. In all these pictures, you see that the position is changing from one point to the other point. Therefore, work is said to be done. After doing all these things, after doing all these processes, a person will get tired. And that time we come to know that work is done. So all these pictures explain us that work is done. A boy will get tired after playing with a tire. A girl will get tired once she lifts up the bag. A girl will also get tired when she pulls the box which is already filled with some books. A man will get tired when he lifts up the wooden block. In all these examples, we come to know that work is done. So, with the help of these examples, we get the definition of work. When an object is displaced, by applying a force on it, work is said to be done. Let's come to know some more details about work. More work is done for the same displacement when more force is applied to do the work. If the same force is applied for more displacement, more work is done by the force. Below the point work, you can see one girl is trying to pull an empty box. And the other picture shows you the same girl is pulling the box, but that is filled with some books. Which one process takes more work? Which process requires more force? The second picture shows us that the girl requires more force, and since more force is applied, that time more work is also done. So when less force is applied, less work is done, and if less force is applied, less work is done. When the applied force is the same, more work is done when there is greater displacement. In other words, for measuring the work, both the force and the displacement must be considered. You can see a picture on the textbook page number 77. It's the picture of a pulley. The boy is pulling the load which is on the pulley. What do you observe in this picture now? If the load is kept same and the force required on it is also kept same, but taking into consideration the displacement is done more, that time we say that work is done in more amount. Let me explain you this concept in detail. Suppose there is a girl who has 5 kgs of weight in her hand. She will require some amount of force to travel from one point to other point, and she will require the same amount of force to again travel the same distance. But if the force is kept same and the distance is increased, that time work is done in more amount. That means while measuring work, both force and displacement must be considered. Let's now discuss the next point, the relationship between work and energy. In the picture shown, you can see that the boy is playing with the car. He is trying to push the car with his own physical energy. That time we say that work is done, since the boy applies force on the car and therefore the car is pushed forward. That is, the car changes its place from one point to another. Transformation of the boy's energy into work has taken place through the applied force. The capacity to do work is called energy, and we come to know the formula for work is equal to force into displacement. In this class, we come to know that work, force and energy are interdependent on each other. When force is applied on an object, work is said to be done, and the capacity to do work is called the energy. This is the relationship between work and energy. Thank you.